Hi, my name's Harold Byun, and I'm the Chief Product Officer of BlueRock, and I'm fresh off the heels of RSA. I did want to take the time to talk about the LiteLLM compromise, which has affected a lot of people. It is a supply chain attack that results in credentials harvesting and an exfiltration of any credentials that are identified for further downstream attacks. The LiteLLM hack is itself a downstream attack from the Trivy compromise last week, where Trivy was integrated in a lot of CI/CD um, deployments for any type of development operation. Fortunately for us, we were not affected by this particular hack. We run a stable version and we've halted updates at this point in time while we all kind of work through the aftermath. And I think the maintainer needs to really look at kind of what the mitigation strategy is longer term. Given the nature of this attack, it is really the tip of the iceberg of multiple supply chain attacks that are due to come, and the attacker or the threat actor, Team PCP, has proclaimed that they will continue this type of operation to steal terabytes of data going forward. And ultimately, their goal is to continue to harvest credentials, execute on compromise, and continue that again and again. And so what I wanted to talk about really was how active guardrails can really help protect some of your agentic infrastructure. And it's one of the ways that we're looking at mitigating some of the risk while still being able to maintain velocity and continue to take updates on different components in the infrastructure. So what I did was I simulated the attack path that the threat actor took, which involved incorporating a .pth file that's a subpros initialization on the install of this version of that version of the LiteLLM. And what that consequently did was execute a entire environment and credential and secrets and keys harvesting exercise that resulted in it being encrypted, wrapping that in an encrypted payload, and then trying to exfiltrate it to a lookalike domain, and also establishing a remaining backdoor. So what I've done here is I have this console up, which is the BlueRock YOLObox. It is extreme containerization for visibility and guardrails of agentic infrastructure. And what I'm going to do is just execute this in a simulation script that I put together. And it's going to go through it pretty quick. You'll see that it's trying to harvest information, host name, who am I, IP address, IP route, the uname. It will then try and print all the environment information, grab Etsy Shadow, AWS credentials, SSH, any of the environment variables with any API keys, generates a random key, encrypts the file, and then tries to exfiltrate that data. So you can see that a number of these operations were not permitted. And so one of the things I'll show as an output of this is like if you just looked at kind of, I think it was TPCP, they would try and wrap this at the end. That's a zero payload. And then they would try and curl. And what I'm going to show you next is kind of the visibility and guardrails that we had implemented here. So let me pull that up really quick. Switch over to this view of, in this case, it's AWS CloudWatch. We can support any OTel, but what you'll see is that if I go back, that these are all kinds of the operations where somebody was trying to execute these commands or exfiltrate this to a different payload. And in this case, after they were done that, they actually tried to execute OpenSSL. In this case, this was either the keygen function or actually using that to encrypt the file. So that's an example of a guardrail. And then you can see here that they try to tar the gzip and encrypt it. That was actually this execution here of the OpenSSL. I'm just showing you the block, but this is actually the metadata around it. And then they also try to curl to that lookalike domain. And this is where we also execute a curl block for that operation. So in this case, what we were able to do is effectively thwart a lot of the harvesting activity. We were able to block any of the writing of that information into a file. We were able to block the encryption operation itself, as well as the exfiltration action to get it off of the workload. And so again, this is a way that you can potentially leverage an active defense mechanism that is more secure by default in nature and still kind of leverage the latest updates to your agentic infrastructure, because this is going to be the first attack of many. So just wanted to walk folks through that. We're happy to answer any questions. You can always reach us at bluerock.io and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.